Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello and welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, where myself, Brie, Gabrielle, and Captain Rick Murphy will be taking you all over Florida tonight with the best fishing reports around. Right, Rick?
Absolutely, Brie.
As always, and giving us a hand tonight is Dave Ferrell at the Workbench.
Yeah.
Hello, Dave.
I'm not having to do much tonight, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
It's kayak night.
You make
And
it
we got kayak experts in here.
Kayak and canoe.
I just get to say, hey, what's this? What's
stealing money. Stealing money over there.
Stealing money,
I like to
making
do it.
Okay. So, Rick, our species really isn't a species tonight, but it is all about fishing from kayaks and canoes.
Absolutely. It's
So
about
fun.
the paddle sport, Brie.
Yep.
And you know, when you look at the sport fishing magazines, certainly you can tell by this great picture that the guys paddle offshore and along the shore. This redfish is a great example. They love red fishing because you can actually sneak up on the fish. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about that tonight from our experts that we brought in. It's also a great fish that we catch snook and trout. So it's a wonderful fish, but then offshore, guys fishing right off of the beach can catch tarpon and kingfish as well as sailfish. We don't have any offshore pictures, but those are a great example of what we do here in Florida from Sport Fishing Magazine.
Sounds good to me. Well, starting the night off in the Derringer Zone is Captain Tommy Derringer from the Northeast region. Hey, Tommy.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight? You know, the Strike Zone Northeast region is a pretty awesome spot to get your yak on. You know, I spoke with Dave Workman from Strike Zone, and he tells me the kayaks and the stand-up paddleboard are flying out the doors these days with a ton of new anglers kind of going that route. Now, along with getting a great workout from all the paddling, those are going to be the perfect watercrafts to access some really great fishing spots in my region. Now, to the south, we have the Tomoka Basin and the Pellicer Flats. In St. Augustine, we have Guana Lake. And in Jacksonville, we have Chickpit Bay, as well as creeks like Clapboard and Simpsons, just to name a few of them. Now, most of those areas are accessible by boat on the higher tide stage, but when the tide gets low, like we have early in the morning this coming weekend, that's when those kayaks are really going to shine. You know, it gets super shallow in those areas at low tide, but the fish will stay in some of those slightly deeper pockets, even when most of that water is completely sucked out of there. Now, being able to fish those shallow areas, even on that low tide, is one reason so many people are going to be taking the kayak. Now, the skinny stuff isn't the only way to utilize your kayak, as a bunch of anglers are going to fish the deeper water here as well. Now, this past weekend, we had one of the biggest kayak tournaments in the whole world right up in Jacksonville. JacksKayakFishing.com puts on the Jack's Kayak Classic every year, and this year they had almost 400 entries. It's a red, trout, and flounder combined length tournament, and a couple of guys that were at the top fished in some pretty deep water right along the St. Johns River to get their redfish, and some of those redfish were over 40 inches. Now, if you're new to kayak fishing, there are quite a few really good kayak guides in the Northeast region, and I would highly recommend booking one of them, and they can teach you everything from just paddling around in the kayak to catching some really, really big fish. Now, speaking of kayak guides, actually, he's not really a guide yet, but he could be. I have a photo here of my nephew, Christian Derringer, with a big redfish he caught out of his kayak.
Wow, that's awesome.
He's been kayak fishing since he was literally a little baby, and he's probably caught more big redfish by the time he was about 4 years old than most people do their whole lives. You know, he's the man when it comes to kayak fishing.
Yeah.
Christian.
All right, let's go inshore, bud.
All right, you know, the flounder bite is still really good, especially around the inlets right now. You're going to want to fish the jetty rocks and the docks around those inlets on the last of the outgoing and the first of the incoming tide. A finger mullet pinned to a 3/8 ounce jig head or a fish finder rig with just enough weight to hold the bottom is going to be the way to go. Now, also, if you get out there early this weekend, you're going to have the last of the outgoing tide in all the area creeks. You're going to want to dredge the bottom of those deeper creek bends with the same rig I just mentioned, and you're definitely going to pick up a few flounder and probably some redfish too. Now, I've got a photo here. This is Rory Gregg with a nice flatty he caught on a suspending twitch bait in the Chickapit Bay area. That's a cool bait to catch a flounder on.
Absolutely.
Now, moving offshore, we got the blue marlin bite has been good this year, and this past weekend it was crazy good up here. The Conch House Billfish Tournament was held this past weekend, and with only 14 boats competing, there were 10 blue marlin caught. Now, I also spoke to Captain Jeffrey Crabtree from RightSpotCharters.com, and he, along with Richard Gaskin on the Cannonball, both had marlin releases on that same day. Now, Captain Jeffrey tells me most of those fish were caught pulling a skirted select ballyhoo or a lure in blue and white or purple and black running about 7 to 10 knots. And he says you're going to want to look for the bait and stay near the weeds anywhere from about 400 feet on out to about 1,400 feet. Now I got a photo here of Captain Jeffrey with his blue marlin he caught earlier in the week. Now, also offshore, the cobia have been on the wrecks of the reef around the 100-foot mark, as well as some of the nearshore numbers. And you're just going to want to slow down a bit when you get to your spot, and you might see them on top, but a lot of the guys are catching them by jigging down a little deeper. Now, they've also been making a really good showing here along the beaches in the last couple of days. There's an absolute ton of manta rays along the beach from the south end of Jacksonville all the way down to the Flagler Beach. Now, there are definitely more rays out there than cobia, but if you put in some time, you're probably going to find a few good ones. Those cobia are eating live pogies or live mullet on a 5 to 7/0 VMC surf hook, and they're also eating the usual cobia jig in chartreuse or white.
All right, great report from the Strike Zone Northeast region, Tommy. I'm going to go ahead and look at the hot spots and see what Captain Tommy has to say that we should go do this weekend. Inshore, flounder and redfish in the deeper creek holes on the early morning low tide, finger mullet on the jig head or a fish finder rig on the bottom. And then offshore, the blue marlin, which he talked about, starting in 400 feet, work your way out to 1,400 feet, pulling skirted ballyhoo or lures in blue and white, purple and black, and do it at 7 to 10 knots, Brie.
All right, Rick, why don't you pop a squat? We're gonna paddle on over to the Central West region where Captain Jeff Page has some great news for all of you yakers.
Yes, sir. I got to give a big shout out to my 2 Central West kayak experts that are in the studio tonight, Big Daddy Mike McDonald and the lovely Ashlee from Economy Tackle.
All right,
and
go ahead.
I got to say that my Startron Central West region is probably the most popular of all the regions when it comes to paddle sports. And our home store, Economy Tackle, is the king and pioneer of it all. From beginner inshore and lake paddle anglers to pro offshore tournament anglers, we have it all. And the Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte County offers a bunch of easy access to most lakes, bays, back bays, estuaries, and beaches in the entire region. They also have a handbook of all the legal launches in all 3 counties too, and you can usually get those at your finer tackle stores as well as the tag office where you get your fishing license. It shows you some good areas for tarpon fishing. Usually we have 2 pro redfish tournaments in our region, be Sarasota Ruskin or Port Charlotte Punta Gorda each year, which not only has the boat division, but it has the kayak division. And another new technique has been the new stand-up paddle boards, which are even stealthier than kayaks, but take a little more balance and take a little more practice. No matter how you slice it, Starbright Central West region has it all for paddle anglers and your family. I've got a couple photos tonight of kayak anglers. First, Rusty Driver of Sarasota with a nice redfish. And second, with Rusty and his good friend, Mike's good friend, Elliot Fishfinder Stevens of Louisiana, with a couple big slob redfish they caught in their kayak.
All right.
Staying inshore, snook. I can't stop talking about the snook bite, Rick. You were just here shooting yet another sportsman's adventure with my man, Captain Jeremy Lee, and the snooking was hot then. Well, it's even gotten better now with this new moon tide this week. Lots of fish are moving out along the beaches, giving the fly angler a great shot at catching a nice snook on fly. The key is getting the right angle on the fish by casting parallel down the beach to approaching fish. A good pair of Coaster 580s is very important. As for the bait and lure angler, live tiltards, free line, and most of our inlets, Scum Pass, Venice Jetty, Big Pass, on the morning incoming, or better yet, on that afternoon outgoing, are going to produce a great shot at a trophy line sighter. Got a snook photo of my son, 10-year-old Noah Page, with a 32-incher he got on his Okuma 7-foot shadow stalker with an RTX 40.
All right, keep it going, Jeffrey. Offshore.
Snook Ninja.
Red grouper. Red grouper bite stays consistent in the entire region, and believe it or not, they're still in fairly close, Rick. 65 to 100 feet of water. Frozen sardines are working as well as pinfish. The key has been marking good hard bottom or ledges with your bottom machine that are showing stacks of bait. Venice to Anna Maria are producing good trophy red grouper. Species 2, kingfish. People keep saying the kings are gone, the kings are gone. But you know what? As long as these big schools of Spanish sardines and threadfins are out there offshore, kings are going to hang around. And they're holding around most of the M reefs, which are in the 7 to 11 mile range. You can troll them with X-Rat, Palmers, spoons, or anchor up and put out flat lines, 3-line threadfins, or blue runners while chumming live filters. Kings are averaging 12 to 25 pounds. And I've got 2 quick notes. CCA Star Tournament starts this weekend. And don't forget, Tommy Derringer and myself will be at New Smyrna this Saturday for fish stock, representing the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Great report, Captain Page. I'm going to go ahead and look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Startron Central West region. Inshore, speckled trout holding on the deep grass flats of Emerson Point in South Tampa Bay, as well as the middle grounds in Sarasota. And then offshore, permit on lots of wrecks and artificial reefs in the 7 to 11 mile range, throwing free line crabs. Now guys, we also are going to have a great tournament, an annual tarpon tournament that they have, the 4th annual Suncoast Tarpon Tournament, to benefit all the Children's Hospital heroes on the water. Over $20,000 in cash and prizes. So if you want to know more about that, you guys can go online and figure out where it's at. I'm sorry I don't have the website there. We'll have it up on our website, but it's got boat division, payoffs, kayak divisions as well. So don't forget to catch the 2015 Suncoast. Now, we have Paul Migley here from NAVIONICS.
Hey,
and
Rick.
Paul, you know what? You really have, NAVIONICS has taken things to the next level. I've never imagined when we started 3 years ago that we were going to be where we are today. So tell me about some of the newer products that we got that we're going to show tonight.
Certainly, Rick. I know one of the things you've really done a great job on is educating all the anglers on the use of sonar charts and the contours. So this is another feature using sonar charts, which works with our mobile app.
Okay.
So with the NAVIONICS mobile app, in conjunction with a Vexilar unit, if you've got a Lowrance or a Simrad, sure, go right ahead. Or if you've got a Lowrance or a Simrad, we've got the GoFree, which is another wireless connection. And most plotters will use an NMEA connection, and you can use the digital yacht router.
All right. So basically what you're telling me now is that we're going to use our electronics that are on the boat. This is going to plug in, depending on the unit that you have. And now what we can do is we can record, or what are we going to do with it once we've established
the video
that?
probably says the best way to do it. If we go to the video, this kind of explains a little bit more about what Sonar Charts Live does. So we're connecting wirelessly to the app and to one of the products. And what we say is basically just go boating. And what you can see is it's recording the contours, and in real time, it is adjusting to brand new 1-foot contours as you boat.
Holy cow.
So whether you're boating or you're cruising or you're fishing or just checking out new areas, this really dials in, specific drop-offs, ledges. You can see your sonar as you're going, and really brings brand new, just detailed information to you. And the great part is it collects all this information as you're going. And when you disconnect from the when you disconnect from the Vexilar and you connect back to NAVIONICS, it uploads those logs. So for example, this is an area on this
Let's take
shot.
a look at the chart for the first and then the second. Go ahead.
Certainly. So this one here is where I actually did some sonar charts live while I was looking for snook and redfish, trying to figure out exactly, what the contours were. So that's my live data. When I go to the second shot, this is the results of once those logs were submitted to NAVIONICS, it gets transformed into our sonar charts, which is then on the plug and play, on mobile, and morphs into real coastline to give you better detail.
That is simply awesome. Now, Paul, let's explain to people, the tighter the lines that you see there on the chart, that means the more severity of the drop-off. Is that correct?
That's correct. So as your lines get tighter, almost like that thick black magic marker line, that's your steeper ledge. As you see just kind of drop off or loop a little bit, that might be a slow shallowing point. So all those lines indicate the tightness of the ledge.
All right, so then they can share all this on through the community layer? How does that exactly work?
Correct. So every time you're using sonar charts, whether you're recording on a plotter or you're using one of the sonar charts live, we take that data that comes to NAVIONICS, and it's either uploaded through the mobile phone, or you've recorded to a chart, or you're doing a plotter sync. All that comes to us, and through the magic of sonar charts, we update the charts because it's, one boat can do only so much. When we have 1,000 boats out there, you get a lot more information that comes in, and it updates charts all the time.
Boy, that's magical stuff from NAVIONICS. Guys, if you don't have the mobile app, you better get one.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, Brie, where are we going next?
Speaking of magical, you forgot that part, Rick. Brie. All right, guys, don't paddle off. When we return, we're seeing what the yak news is over in the Central East region. Plus, we are going off the deep end with Dave. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevrolet, find new roads. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Humminbird, simply, clearly, better. Decks and Docks Lumber Company, Florida's dock and seawall supplier. And King Sailfish Mounts, www.kingsailfish.com.
This is amazing.
I love this car.
Real people are discovering surprising things at Chevy.
This is a road trip car.
We're sold.
It's so pretty.
They're good-looking cars.
It feels great.
Perfect. This is not what I would expect from a Chevy at all.
Get more than you expect for less than you imagined at the Chevy Memorial Day sale going on now. Get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select 2015 models in stock the longest. That's over $3,100 on this Chevy Cruze. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome. Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the game changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Now it's time to go over the news and notes from the FWC. June 27th, there's a kids fishing clinic in Cape Canaveral. July 11th, there's another kids fishing clinic in Palm Coast. For more information, visit myfwc.com. Now it's time to go off the deep end.
Dave, we're going off the deep end. Humminbird takes us there every week, but this week we're not at the CCA Workbench. We're right in front of it, and we got my big guest,
Got a big kayak.
Mike McDonald, proven champion. Now, Mike, you pioneered fishing off of the beach in Sarasota for tarpon. So tell us a little bit about what that entails. Paddling or pedaling?
Well, back when I first started, it was strictly paddling, but now they've developed the pedal kayaks. Personally, I like to use the pedal kayak a lot better, because it allows me to sneak up on the fish. I have the use of my hands to fight the fish, make the cast, so on and so forth. And I can still, use the rod to kind of steer me once I have the fish hooked. So it's just an easier avenue to maneuver the boat by yourself. Back when we first started doing it, me and Keith McFarland, we basically used a two-man kayak.
Right.
And one guy would steer while the other guy fought the fish. But now you can do it with just one person.
What do you do when you get one of those big old tarpon alongside the boat one of these days? That would spook me, man.
You just have to be careful. Use your common sense. Obviously, there's a lot of predators out there. You want to pay attention to the behavior of the fish as he approaches the boat. I carry a pair of scissors. Once, you fish for billfish quite a bit. It's all about catch and release. There's no food value in a tarpon, but it's an excellent adrenaline fighting fish. you want to get the fish close, clip the line close to the leader, and let him go.
And
Go ahead.
What kind of gear are you using? Are you using some like a 6-foot rod, or this is a Kuma 6.5?
When you move inshore, you like a shorter rod or a longer rod?
When I move inshore, I like a shorter rod if I'm fishing like potholes. Offshore, for tarpon, I'll use a 7.5-foot rod, 8-foot rod.
So Mike, I got a question for you. You know, you're talking about paddling, you know. When you go inshore and it's sometimes very shallow, what do you do with the pedals?
The pedals will splay upwards, or I can take it out altogether, put it in my H crate, and just basically use a paddle, or I'll use my stick pin. Just depends on what I'm doing, how I want to approach the fish, what the wind's doing, what the tide's doing. There's a lot of obviously different conditions that dictate how you fish. With the kayak, it gives you the ability to get in shallow water. I can hop out. I've got some wading booties I put on. There's a lot of things I can do, but the most important thing, the kayak gives you the ability to have an economical way to fish, get a little bit of exercise, and actually you can catch a lot more fish personally, I feel.
So positioning a boat important? I know it is for us in the flats boats, so tell me about that. How do you do that?
You mentioned that little pin up over there.
Right, this is a stick pin. I have another kayak that's a little larger than this, and one of the greatest inventions that Power Pole came out with is the micro pole. And the micro pole allows me to basically use a remote control just like you would in a boat. But in this particular boat, I have a anchor trolley system. I can position anywhere on the boat. It just depends on which way the wind's blowing. I insert the stick pin, anchor myself down, gives me the ability to catch the fish I want to catch. Also, you can use the scupper holes and put the pin through there as well.
All right, so come back over here, and I want you to explain to me, Mike.
This kayak comes with wheels.
Why you got wheels on your kayak, dude?
Well, some tournaments that I fish, they'll give you a map, and basically you have to navigate a course.
Right.
Sometimes that course isn't through water.
Right.
You'll come to an obstruction like a beach or a road or something, and you can paddle 5 miles around to get to where you want to fish, or you can cut down that beach. So what I do is insert these wheels in the scupper holes.
So it'll go through on the bottom.
Right, and I can drag it like a wagon.
Up, and that's on a wagon, and you just pull these pins and make them go through there to keep it from popping out if it's a bumpy road.
Correct.
I love it, man. You know what? These kayak guys, they got it going on. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah.
So, you know what, Mike? I appreciate it. Tell me quickly some of the titles that you've won fishing out of a kayak.
Well, I've won a few IFA titles, which I'm proud of, and I've won a few other species. I won the Adventure World Kayak Championship. That was a 2-man tournament down in the Everglades City. But I fish quite a few kayak tournaments, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, champ, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and coming, telling us and teaching us more about how we can be more effective fishing out of a kayak. And speaking of effective, Brie, you certainly are.
Yes, I am. All right, Captain Jim Ross from the Central East region is here to tell you all about the paddle sport business up in his neck of the waters. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Brie. Yeah, kayaks, canoes, paddle boards, they're all, more and more popular in the Central East region. And it gives anglers, access to basically previously inaccessible places in some cases. We used to only see these types of boats basically in the 15-square-mile sea cow sanctuary up in the Banana River, the area, known as the no motor zone. But now just about any body of water, from one bank to the other, it doesn't really matter where you are, freshwater, saltwater. You'll see a kayak fishing in those waters. The anglers that are fishing from paddle boards typically have to be a little more stealthy or plan a little better than guys in the kayaks. Like they were just explaining at the workbench, you can sneak up on spooky fish like black drum and trout and stuff like that. But the paddle boards have a tendency to be fairly noisy because they're flat on the bottom, and so you have to kind of pay attention to how you're ingressing and egressing off of a flat or towards a school of fish because of that. But you know what? There's a bunch of different types of small watercraft out there, and there's a bunch of different guides who specialize in those types of watercraft. So look around and find out who the guy is who's that go-to guy on the paddleboard or the kayak, and give that guy a call and have him guide you to go out there and figure out how to do it the best way.
You know what? And we've also got our inshore species. You know, we mentioned some trout, some black drum, and some redfish, but this week the flounder has been pretty good. Both the Sebastian Inlet and the Ponce Inlet have been fair, but Canaveral, for some reason, kind of seems to be standing above the rest when it comes to those Atlantic flounder. The live mud minnows on a piece of short leader on a slide and sinker rig is basically the best way to catch them. But you can also put them on a hookup jig as well. That seems to be working. But, you know, when you talk to the experienced guys, some go with a knocker rig where the weight is located real close to the swivel, between the hook and the swivel. And then there's other guys that like a standard fish finder rig, and that's where the weight goes above the swivel. Either way, they typically like less than 12 inches of leader between the swivel and the hook, because that way the flounder doesn't have to go too far up to try and grab the bait that they're trying to present to them. Now, as far as bait goes, there's really one bait and one bait only that seems to be a resounding yes, and that is a mud minnow. Right now, our flounder are averaging about 2 to 3 pounds, but there's some 7-pounders, especially up around the Canaveral area. And then offshore, we've got a fish that we don't catch a lot of, but we are starting to see quite a few of this week, and that is the blue marlin. And they're striking in the 450 to 1,100 foot depths right now. Captain John Zeller on the Joker 2 out of Ponce sent me some photos, and we're going to get to them in a minute, but they were of Chris Foreman on the Lady J. He's the captain of that boat. They got about a 275-pounder recently while they were looking for dolphin and wahoo out of Ponce Inlet. And Captain John recommends running a variety of different kinds of baits. He says the mold crab wide range, that's hard for me to say, mouthful, is one of the best ones out there. But he also runs things like naked swimming ballyhoo or mullet in there. And that way, in case you get a dolphin that comes into the spread, you're not running all big lures just designed for those big blue marlin. You're designing or tailoring your spread to about anything that will come up. But you have to have some of those bigger ones in there for those blue marlin. And he says black and purple or red and black are really good color choices right now. And you want to look for edges or color changes. That seems to be where the fish are holding best. Now, for that photo, this is Captain Chris Foreman and his mate Austin Spitzer, and they're on the boat called the Lady J out of New Smyrna Beach, and that is one heck of a nice blue marlin that they put to the boat this week.
All right, go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
And I'm telling you right now, we had an easterly blow for about a week, and there are weed lines starting to form up everywhere. The southerly breezes are really starting to get them to come packed together, and you can catch fish just about anywhere where you're finding weeds right now. Captain Glenn Austin out of Sebastian caught him in shot. He was sight fishing to him, by the way, in 85 feet of water the other day. They were casting topwater plugs and subsurface plugs to fish as they were snapper and grouper fishing. But I've talked to other guys that were saying the 160 to 200 foot depths are just absolutely dynamite right now. Anywhere where there's an edge that forms a weed line or a rip, that's what you want to fish. And I've got another picture here with Glenn Austin. And this is that dolphin, the biggest of the dolphin that his customer Merv Rubiano caught. And he caught that on a custom hard bait that they sight cast that fish on.
All right, thank you so much, Jim. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup lure hotspots from the Central East region. Captain Jim says inshore, redfish in the flats of Mosquito Lagoon. Use cut crab or ladyfish on a 4.0 or 6.0 size VMC circle hook. And then offshore, dolphin in 90 to 120 foot depths outside of Sebastian Inlet. Use live baits near the weed patches for fish up to 20 pounds, Brie.
How heavy was that fish you just?
The one that you saw there in the video?
On the
that was a 70-pounder.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
All right, guys, Fish Stock is happening this Memorial Day weekend, May 22nd through 24th at Riverside Park in New Smyrna Beach, featuring 2 fishing tournaments, a boat show, seminars, kids activities, food, and fun for the whole family. For more information, visit fishstock.com. But coming right up, we have the Keys and Northwest regions ready and waiting for when we return, so drop that anchor. We'll be right back.
Okay.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Drummond Community Bank. Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Guatemala. When we created the Silverado Rally Edition, we figured, why stop there? These 4 new Silverado Special Editions are just the beginning. From this year's fastest growing full-size truck brand, Chevy Silverado. Or during the Chevy Memorial Day sale, choose this Silverado All-Star with a total value of $8,500 when you finance through select lenders. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Fish Stock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, and the Fish Stock 5K Fun Run. Put your skills to the test in the Redfish Trout Challenge. And new this year, Boston Whaler and Marine Max offer $2,500 cash for the largest fish caught each day in the Offshore Striker Tournament. Don't miss out on the fun. Visit fishstock.com to register.
Welcome back, guys. Captain Randy Tao, it seems that everywhere so far in Florida, paddle sports are becoming more and more popular, and the Keys region is no exception.
You know, that's true. Good evening, fish fans. You know, we've got kayakers and canoers all over the Keys, but we're fortunate to have Everglades National Park to the north of us, and a lot of people trailer around and they put in along some of the ponds there. There's some landlocked ponds that you'll put your canoe in and paddle around, or you can get up into Whitewater Bay and Hells Bay, Lane Bay. Some of these places in the backcountry are really fun to paddle around and kayak in. Now, if you really want to see nature and you want to get into some cool spots, that's the way to go. You know, a regular-sized flats boat's not going to get in to some of these areas, so if you've got a canoe where you can get into some of these real narrow channels, they open up into some big bays, and they have some pretty good fishing. You know, it's one of those things. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, and you get to see nature firsthand. I guess that's the beauty of it. I'm not much of a kayaker or canoeer myself, but I see people doing it, and I know they have a big time, and it's a lot of fun. Now, down through the Keys, you'll see people pull off the side of the road and drop in right there, and they'll paddle around some of the close islands or just paddle up some of the shorelines. And it's a lot of fun. You don't really have to have any particular place to go or anywhere to be, and being on the water doing that is really cool, and people do it all the time down here. I've got a photo, and it's kind of an interesting one. It was Dean and Judy Strong from Inglewood. They bring their canoe down here every year, tarpon fishing, and this was a photo. I had to get this because they had a tarpon on, and I had to go over and introduce myself and get a picture of them. They're very big fans of the show as well.
Good for doing that, Randy. I appreciate the extra effort. Okay, what else you got for us off inshore?
You know, tarpon fishing, Rick, as you know, the tournaments are starting. We just had the Golden Fly tournament. That kind of kicks off the fly fishing season, if you will. Right now, most of the guys are fly fishing. You know, the conditions were difficult. High winds earlier in the week. They've gotten nice now. The weather's straightened out. But as you know, there's a pile of fish to the south of us down around Bahia Honda and 7 Mile Bridge. And we've got some pretty good fishing in the Upper Keys as well if you're a bait fisherman. But most of this stuff right now is happening on the ocean side, very little in the backcountry. But I've got a photo of Eizo Marahashi with a tarpon he caught. You know, this is 28 years, Rick, I've been fishing with him.
Wow. He's quite an angler. He's got a good guide, so that's the results of what happens. All right, let's go offshore, Bub.
You know, triple tails. We've got the best of both worlds when it comes to triple tails. We got them in the Gulf, in the backcountry, and we have them offshore. Now, the cool thing about offshore, you want to bring a light spinning rod, grab a dozen shrimp before you leave the dock so that you're ready. And if you find something floating, it could be a bucket, it could be a board, it could be a pallet, but there's going to be a triple tail on them. Most everybody I talk to right now going offshore dolphin fishing is finding a piece of debris and it's got a triple tail on it. Now, if you don't have any bait, if you just have ballyhoo or lures, you're going to have a hard time catching them. So prepare yourself and bring a light spinning rod and bring some shrimp, and you'll get these triple tails to bite. And some of these are pretty good size. They're great eating, and they're a lot of fun. You know, you might not have somebody on the boat that's as hardcore an angler, you know, to catch dolphin, and the triple tails are great fun for kids or the ladies on the boat. It's a perfect way to go. Now, the dolphin fishing, having said that, along with the debris that you find, you're going to have dolphin on it. And the dolphin have been pretty good in our area here from Islamorada to Marathon in about 600 to 1,200 feet of water. Now, they're scattered weeds. You can always look in the weeds. You can look for a weed line. But the weeds haven't been formed up together as well to make a line. It's been more scattered. So it's kind of tough to troll through it. You want to look for birds. Birds have been key. If you find a set of birds, chances are there's going to be some dolphin on them. Now, reading those birds and understanding which way they're flying, how they're working, that's going to tell you if they're on schoolie dolphin, if they're on slammer dolphin. I've got a picture of Captain Brian Cohn sent me of this past weekend. He's been dominating in the dolphin tournaments again this year, and his angler, Lindsey Deal, Don DeLeon, and his mate, Dan Mayoff, these guys have been doing extremely well, finding big dolphin and winning these dolphin tournaments right now. So put the extra effort in and look for those big fish under the birds.
Good report from the Florida Keys region, Randy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla hot spots from the Florida Keys. Captain Randy says inshore tarpon drift around the bridges with live crabs early and late in the day, fly fish on oceanside flats midday or for those swimming tarpon. And then offshore dolphin, look for the weed lines and birds starting in 600 feet of water. Troll south until you intercept the migrating dolphin moving southwest into the current.
You never want to forget.
I never want to forget.
Never.
Nope.
For the frigate, you always have to look for those.
I know.
All right, it's time to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys. The Ladies Dolphin Championship in Key West, set for Saturday, May 30th, is offering $10,000 in cash and prizes. Proceeds benefit the Jose Wahevi Spanish Fly Memorial Foundation. The Pig, Pine Key, and Lower Keys Dolphin Tournament, set for June 5th through the 7th, features $35,000 in cash and prizes, including a $20,000 cash prize for the heaviest dolphin caught over 50 pounds. The Veterans of Foreign Wars tournament is scheduled for June 6th in Key West. There's prizes for heaviest dolphin, wahoo, snapper, and grouper, along with awards for largest fish caught by women and junior anglers. The third annual Ladies Dolphin Tournament of the Florida Keys is set for June 12th to the 13th in the Upper Keys. Cash and merchandise prizes will be awarded to the top 10 teams and determined by the combined weights of 3 dolphin catches. And now, let's hear from our trusty correspondent in the Florida Keys, Andy Newman.
Hi guys, we have a new tournament to talk about today. It's the Skipper's Dolphin Tournament, set for June 5th through the 7th in Key Largo. Now fishing days are June 6th and 7th with a cash prize purse of $60,000. Now that includes $25,000 for the team that weighs in the 3 heaviest dolphin. More details at skipperstournaments.com. And information on other Keys tournaments and accommodations can always be found on the Florida Keys website. It's flakeys.com. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Andy. Moving on over to the Northwest region, where again, kayaks and such are becoming more and more popular, and Captain Jeff Hageman is about to tell you why.
Tell me.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, I'm offshore fishing right now. I've got a tarpon on. But,
no big deal. Just
go ahead, give me your report and quit talking.
Kayaks and canoes getting real popular in our region. They're a great way to, in a very inexpensive way, rather than having a boat, to get out and explore Florida. And a stealthy way to, as everybody's been talking about, on sneaking up on fish. It's really, you can get in there really shallow. You don't need that technical skiff. And it's really a great way to explore Florida. We got a lot of rivers, a lot of places to launch in our region, and it's a really, like I said, nice way to get out there. Moving inshore, we got tarpon right now, which our hill tide's going off here where I'm at and up in Tampa Bay. Captain Mike Anderson of 1866 Gamefish out of Tampa Bay reports the good morning beach bite with crabs and threadfins, and then in the afternoon around Egmont Channel, the crab flesh is going good right now. Average fish right now is 110 pounds. You want to have a 4/0 to 6/0 hook, depending on the size crab you're using, and a 60 to 80 fluorocarbon leader. It's been working real good. And I got a photo there of Captain Mike Anderson, the Real Animals, with Brett Stafford with Tia Mahoney's. A nice Egmont tarpon.
Well, you want to make a big tarpon look small, just let Mike Anderson hold it up.
You ain't kidding, right?
That's right, bub. All right, let's go offshore.
Captain Hook and Harry Charters out of St. Pete reports a great permit bite right now, and anywhere from 50-plus feet of water over any artificial wreck that's got any kind of good relief. You want to use crabs, and right now the crabs are flushing. So first thing in the morning, you can catch them around the passes and around the bridges to the passes. You just sit up there and use the light to kind of see a little better if you go off before the sun comes up. Get as many as you can, take them offshore. Anywhere from a 6 to a 7-foot fluorocarbon leader, 30 to 40 pound suffix is working best for the 3 to 4/0 circle hook, or you can use a yellow 16th ounce hookup jig. That's another thing that works really, really, really well. And fish right now are averaging anywhere from 15 to 25 pounds. Also offshore, Captain Mario Costello out of Crystal River reports the triple tail bite's been really good right now. Said most of the time you're finding them on any kind of crab trap buoy or any kind of floating pot, big mats of grass. You can find them underneath. They're going to look like a garbage bag as you drive by them. So come back down, turn up, get on your trolling motor, flip a shrimp to them or a crab to them, and on a float, it's been working best.
Are you done?
Sorry, guys, getting ready to grab. No, we're trying to grab this tarpon right now.
No big
and
deal.
trolling motor up on them. Be as stealthy as you possibly can. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. Tell us what's happening. That's all right. You got another second or two. Tell me.
We got a boon tarpon. We got tarpon boat side right now. The hill tide's been going crazy. He's taking us a little bit offshore on this hard outgoing tide, and we're just about to grab his lip.
How big is he?
Guys, Plant City. He's about 140.
Oh, baby.
Oh,
nice.
what?
Hey, make
Yeah.
sure you take a picture of it and send it to us for next week's show. Great report from the
I'll do it.
Northwest region. I like the live commentary. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Inshore, snook around the bridges, docks, and outside bars and passes. Use free-line sardines and pinfish. And then offshore, grouper, 55 to 110 feet of water over the rock piles and ledges using pinfish on a standard bottom rig. You know, Brie, what flushing means simply means on the outgoing tide, the crabs are flushing out of all the bays. That could be Tampa Bay, it could be Charlotte Harbor, it could be Sarasota, but that's what flushing
Flushing
means.
is a good thing.
Yeah, man.
It's a great thing. I think all the captains should have to be fishing while they're giving their report.
Well,
Multitask.
we'd never get Ron Houston on the phone in the middle of
That's very true.
Chokoloskee.
Very, very true. All right, just when you thought the Yak Attack couldn't get any better, we're going to head way on up to the Panhandle region, and we're going to go over to Dave and see what kind of fishing swag he has for us.
Oh, he's got it.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, man, we got some good stuff over here for
More
the
like
kayak guys.
Kayak swag. All right, guys, we'll be right back on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. NAVIONICS, we start where the road ends. Maverick Boat Company, celebrating 30 years of leadership in innovation, conservation, and stability. And First National Bank, your first choice for better banking.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
All fishermen are created equal. Some just use better fishing line.
Well, we have a guest over here, Dave, at the CCA
And it's a girl.
Workbench. Yes, it is. Ashlee from Economy Bait and Tackle. Ashlee Doot. Yeah, I see it. Oh, look at those guns. Hey, Ashlee, I noticed that we have 3 sets of paddles. So let's go through that.
So this one's an aluminum paddle. It's got a plastic blade. It's a larger blade. Do you feel the weight on it?
I do.
This is a good backup paddle. Aluminum's going to corrode, even though this is stainless steel. Electrolysis is going to corrode. It's going to end up being a one piece.
Eventually.
Yes.
So
and it's heavy.
What's this cost? Obviously, it's the most inexpensive of the 3,
it's about
correct?
$60.
All right, now
backup
the
paddle.
next paddle seems to be lighter, but more importantly, why does it have white paddles?
Well, this is a nylon reinforced fiberglass, so it's going to be a little bit lighter than the plastic. It's also a wrapped carbon blade, so with a wrapped carbon, you're not going to spend as much as woven carbon. It's a larger blade for a larger kayak. It's also a larger shaft for a wider kayak.
So it's longer when you say larger.
Yeah, when you have a wide kayak, you want a longer shaft.
Now this feels like it could potentially be half of the weight of the one with the white paddles.
I could pick this up easily with one hand, one finger. It's in a woven blade. It's also a smaller blade. It's easier. It's a foam filled, so it makes for an easy entrance, very quiet exit. So sneaking up on fish, this is the one you want. Also pushing thousands of pounds of water, you want the lightest paddle you can get.
Plus, if you're a guy that likes to paddle a long ways, certainly you're going to want this. It's no different than a push pole to us. Real light push pole versus a heavy push pole.
Also, this one, you can adjust the length on it in case for some reason you wanted a longer one for wind and wanted a shorter one for wind. It just depends.
Well, I wish I could do that. All right. So anyway, Dave, what do you got over here?
Oh, boy. Because you're in a kayak, you know, a lot of things get wet. You know, and so you got to have a lot of waterproof stuff.
A dry bag's going to carry like anything that's larger. I recommend having a first aid kit. Something like this is good for a cell phone because you can use it, GPS, take your pictures, camera. It's going to go through there.
So what typically would you put in that bag?
I would put anything I don't want to get wet in it.
Purse, because you never know.
Purse, keys, fishing licenses, driver's licenses.
Your wallet.
Yeah, anything I don't want to get wet.
Yeah.
All right, Ashlee. Now, why do we have to have strap? I mean, obviously we're strapping it down in the back of our Chevy truck, but why did you bring a strap of all
because
things?
everybody wants to use ratchet straps.
Oh.
Ratchet straps are made for motorcycles and four-wheelers and dirt bikes. It's made from metal. So most kayaks are plastic or fiberglass. This is a cam strap.
Hold it. Yeah. See, oh, I see.
The teeth are gonna stop it. So your muscle, I don't care how strong you are, you're not gonna break that kayak.
But with
it's
a ratchet, you keep going, keep going, keep going.
One click,
make
two
one,
running.
and then you crack your kayak.
You're gonna compromise it for sure.
And when you're in a kayak, you're low, and that's a good thing as far as sneaking up on fish. But you need to be seen by everybody else, so you have to have some special safety equipment. What do you got here?
This is a light 360 degrees. Coast Guard says anytime between dusk and dawn, you need to have a white light that's visible 360 degrees, not so you can see, so boaters can see you.
See you, yeah.
Yeah, because you're not going to hurt a boat.
I noticed that the life jacket, real short.
Yeah, it's a class 3. You want to have it so that it's adjustable on the sides. So when you're paddling,
you got to have some arm room.
Yeah. Also, this has reflectors on it. And
are most kayak life jackets are shorter like this?
Well, it's adjustable.
Right.
So according to how
oh, I got you on the back.
Long you are, yeah. So they're all the more adjustments, the more comfortable it's going to be.
Right.
Pockets.
And here, this is for, I guess, if you want to get out.
Yeah, so sometimes you want to get out of your kayak, whether it to be to go up on an island or maybe to wade, and you know, anything. But either way, you don't want to have flip-flops.
No.
You want to have some type of good sole shoe. There's always, well, oysters where I live, but there's always something in the water.
I've left many a high-top tennis shoe in the mud, too.
Yeah, you know.
But, if you don't have really
something with a nice strap is going to stop that from happening.
Yeah. Plus, it's a little bit of protection from small stingrays and stuff like that, and saves your feet.
So if a guy watching or a lady watching has a question, how can they get a hold of you to answer all these expert questions?
I work at Economy Tackle in Sarasota, Florida, and you can call us at 941-922-9671 and ask for me, Ashlee.
All right,
Ashlee.
there you go, Ashlee. I'm going to get a commission on all that stuff you're going to be selling. You were talking about you want to get out. Hey, Brie, I got a new pair of shoes for you for the next time you decide you want to step out.
I would love to step out. I love having girls on set, by the way. Actually, I love that you're here. All right, guys, we're going to drive 8 hours up to the Panhandle region with Captain Patanine like I did this past weekend to hear what's happening. Hopefully the fish aren't all about that bait and no trouble. Right, Pat?
No trouble, no trouble.
No
Hey, Brie, I think the kayak fishermen up here, this is not inshore, but it's also offshore. The inshore kayak guys are targeting primarily redfish and trout. And it's all about playing the winds. Find a shoreline that's favorable for the conditions for the day, so that you're fighting the fish, not fighting the conditions. The Upper Escambia Bay is a good area. Panama City Bay systems have got plenty of angles that you can find a good wind direction on. And then also the Santa Rosa Sound and St. Joe Bay, all real popular inshore kayak areas. Use the act as a transport mechanism. When you find a good fish area, get out and wade around. And also the launch offs, you can launch pretty much off of any of the beaches in the Panhandle and have access to good offshore fishing for snappers, amberjacks, king mackerel, Spanish mackerel. Right now, the kingfish are producing for the kayak guys, fishing live baits, slow trolling around behind the kayak, anywhere from a couple hundred yards to a half a mile off the beach. But you can also find blackfin tunas and possibly bonitas. And then there's several kayak guide services operating out of the Panhandle. So if you want to jump into the kayak scene and don't really know how much you want to do it, hire a guide and see how much you like it before you invest the money in the equipment. Staying inshore, the blacktip sharks. I don't usually target them, but they're a great time right now on all of our beaches throughout the whole region, especially Shell Island, Cape San Blas, and also just west of Destin Pass. A live or dead ladyfish is the way to go. Free line it or use a light sinker. Look for areas with abundance of lice. Schools of ladyfish, schools of bays, schools of hardtail, and it's pretty much pretty fun fishing. They fight hard, they jump, and it's going on right now. Moving offshore, the amberjacks and king mackerel have been the mainstay. The amberjacks are on pretty much all of the nearshore and offshore wrecks. The metal high release artificial wrecks are the way to go. Pretty much all of them have some fish on them. Generally speaking, the further you go offshore, the bigger the jacks are going to be. But I did catch a legal jack today at 65 feet of water just right outside the pass with an artificial bait. But if you want to fish for them, use a live hardtail or a live threadfin herring, something that's going to swim around real actively, and that's been a good bite. The king mackerel is finally the last offshore fish. It's been good throughout the whole Panhandle, but particularly the western part of the Panhandle. So if you get some live baits right outside the pass and immediately start fishing, we've been catching them around the sea buoy and just west of the Destin Inlet.
over in Pensacola, the whole buoy line has got a ton of bait on it, as well as the best Massachusetts wreck. Stinger hook with a wire is the way to go. The kings are running anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds.
Hey, Patar, I appreciate you taking my girl fishing this weekend. I know you guys had a good time. She's been bragging about it.
Oh, we had a really good time. It worked out just right.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots for the Panhandle region. Captain Pat says, inshore, early morning trout bite on live baits at the mouth of Horseshoe Bayou. And then offshore, fish the bait schools outside of the Destin Pass and Pensacola Pass for king mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and those black-tipped sharks he was talking about, Brie.
And you know, he's not lying. The Spanish mackerel and amberjack were killing it
I
this
saw
past
the
weekend.
pictures. I
It
can't
was
wait
so
to
fun.
show
And a
everybody that
17-pound
video.
snapper. Oh, it was so much fun. All right, guys, when we come back on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're checking out what all the yak about is in the Southwest and East regions. Stay there. We'll be right back.
17 pounds, snapper.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti Coolers. Built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing. Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist. And Sea Sucker, vacuum mounting systems.
Serious fishermen demand quality equipment on their boats and on shore. That's why Florida boaters have trusted Decks and Docks for over 20 years for dock lumber, hardware, and accessories. Tough products that stand up to the roughest environments, and elegance to please the most discerning homeowner tastes. Decks and Docks, supplying waterfront customers with lumber, decking, and seawall, with 10 locations across Florida.
Chevy Colorado. When you find new roads, you win Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
We're here at Power Pole headquarters, and today's Power Pole tip of the week is about the Power Pole downrigger. Now, the cool part about this is this could be one of the neatest accessories that Power Pole has to offer. Now, the downrigger is going to hook right here at the knuckle with a clip, a release clip down here on the end of the shaft, giving you a different pull point from a different part of the transom. Now, what really makes this cool to me is that you can fish off of the beach over on the East Coast, trolling for kingfish, as well as tarpon during the summer. Or if you're over here on the West Coast, I really see it working well around the bridges and pylons for groupers, or maybe in the inlets for trolling for snook. The whole concept is that you're able to eliminate all that weight and have a pull point that's down deep in the water by simply just deploying your Power Pole downrigger. And that's today's Power Pole tip of the week. It's about the downrigger. So how cool is that? Something that was designed for shallow water anchoring now becomes an offshore downrigger to some sort.
We'll shoot the boat.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
I'm
You know what I
telling
think's
you.
cooler?
What do you think?
My hat. I mean, your hat on my head. That's what I meant to say.
It looks a lot better on your head than my head.
I know. All right, guys. Next in line is Captain Ronnie Houston in the Southwest region, where, let me guess, kayaks and canoes are popular and ever growing.
Absolutely.
Well, yes, Brie. It's very popular through the region, and the craze, I mean, it just keeps growing every time you turn around. Whether you're interested in just exercising or fishing, they can be used in freshwater as well as saltwater, from local lakes and canals to just off the beaches, intercoastal waterways, and venturing into the inland bays, or some like to go on trips from point A to point B that may take several days. And one good thing about the Southwest region is there's always plenty of easy access all the way through the region for small kayaks and canoes. But you know, your options can be to paddle, include using your feet, or small electric motors for the kayaks, or PowerPole's new device that's been out for a short time, the Micro, that'll go on the smaller canoes and kayaks, which is a unique tool to be using on those. You know, there's many options to pick from economical, simple, or up to some serious money to have all the bells and whistles. But you know what? In the region, you want to probably get with the professionals. So here are some tips and some info to get you started. In the Everglades area, you want to look to get a hold of Everglades Area Tours. He has everything from beginners to shuttle excursions. Up in Naples, Naples Marine and Excursions. Also Adventures Kayaking in Bonita Beach, Punta Gorda, and up in Charlotte Harbor. But like I say, it's a real unique thing. The craze just keeps growing. Plenty of access through the region to get out, get one of these guys. But also on the inshore side, one thing that's come back and has been very well is the snook fishing. I want to concentrate right now from Gordon's Pass to West Pass on the mid-incoming to the top of the high, and then the mid-outgoing, concentrating on outer Gulf points, independent islands with good current off the point, but also long stretches of shorelines which have current, whether it's incoming or outgoing. From example, from Big Marco Pass all the way to Coon Key through the intercoastal, there's plenty of shorelines there that are deep and high, but then when it gets low, the banks drop off and the fish are on the edges and well protected in those areas. Majority of the time right now, it's the time of year, artificials have been working great, topwater plugs, golden silver spoons, bass assassin paddle tails, and 4-inch new penny, root beer and white, but live filters have been abundant. Pinfish, a good time of year to be catching fish. Typical size right now is 22 to 26 inches, and I have 2 pictures of some fish that were just caught in the last couple days. One photo is Mark Lockhart with a 17-pound snook. The second photo is John Snowdy with an 18-pound snook. Both of those fish were caught on the Bass Assassin Didap or Houdini in color. Real simple, throwing out the big paddle tail and just reeling it in. But on the offshore report, the permit. Concentrate right now from Wiggins Pass to Redfish Pass. Most noted structure, 7 to 15 miles out. Moderate weather and clean water has been the key. To start drifting across most of this structure, you can either drift and look for these fish, or anchoring up looking for the fish on top, or chumming them up on top, or looking on your bottom fighter. Basically, the baits right now have been live crabs, live hand-picked shrimp, or simply fan-cast and bright-colored bucktails tipped with shrimp. Right now, typical size of these fish have been getting a little bigger, anywhere from 15 up to 35 pounds. Now, still on the offshore side, great time of year to pick the weather, moderate seas, the mangrove snapper fishing. Been a very strong bite right now from Sanibel to Boca Grande. Depths have been anywhere from 35 to 55 feet of water. Fish most noted structure. Quite a good tip for you guys right now. Smaller ledges have producing better bites and bigger fish just by simply chumming to draw the fish up and then flatline back, or even at a small weight. Cast to the fish, line casting with throw rights and pilchers, or you can use small cup pilchers, shrimp, squid, herring, and pinfish have all been working. All reports right now, actually all through the region, mangrove snapper's been hot, and with the approach of the full moon coming up in about a week, nighttime bites a little cooler and even better.
Hey, Ronnie, I got some questions for you. The first question is, do great big snook that you showed there in photos. So my question is, what kind of tackle were you catching those fish on? Tell me about the rod and reel combo that you're using.
Well, believe it or not, you don't really need heavy tackle to be catching these fish right now. As I've said in the last couple of weeks, the outer Gulf points. So you're fishing these fish off the points, dropping down in the deeper water using plugs or large soft plastics. And basically, I've been using the RTX 40 or the Akuma Cedros 40, which is a light, both of them are light reels, basically with 8 to 17 pound rods, using 20-pound braid. But here's the key, 60 and 80 pound leaders right now, because these mouths of these fish, they're getting ready to spawn. Their mouths are tough, but when they eat a 4-inch bait, using a 40, 30 pound leader, chances are they're gonna break you off. So right now, no heavy tackle, light spinning gear. You're pulling these fish away from the islands, out in the open water and no problem catching the fish.
All right, great job, Ronnie. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspot from the Southwest region. Inshore, trout, Bird Key to Pavilion Key, fish the grass flats on the lower water using topwater plugs, noise-making corks, root beer paddle tails on a jig head, and then offshore, cobia. Marco to Sanibel fishing wrecks 35 to 55 using large live baits, chuggers, or 6 to 10 inch soft plastics.
All right, Captain Mike Holliday from the East region has a few options for all of you paddle sporters up there, Rick.
All right.
There isn't any doubt about that, guys. You know, Palm Beach County, you can launch at any of the public beaches and be in 100 feet of water and fishing for blue water species, really just a short paddle from land. And then there's also great snook and tarpon fishing around Little Lake Worth and around Snook Island in Big Lake Worth, and also around Peanut Island and the Riviera Beach Bridge, or the Blue Heron Bridge is what it's actually called. If you have a family that's into scouting, the Boy Scout camp in Jupiter, they rent canoes on the Loxahatchee River, right where there's a great tarpon and snook fishing area. There's also a wealth of places to rent kayaks and stand-up paddleboards in Palm Beach County. Then in Martin County, you can launch at the boat ramp at Hope Sound or at Twin Rivers Park. Then you can fish the Intercoastal Waterway, or you can fish the Federal Wildlife Refuge. Probably the biggest draw in Martin County is the Indian River, with launches in Bathtub Beach, the House of Refuge, and all of the causeways. You can target the Spoil Island, seawalls, grass flats. In those areas, I'd throw like a bass assassin dye dapper, fish it weedless, and reel it along the surface, or throw a live shrimp, either free-lined or fished under cork. In that Martin County area also, Flying Fish Paddle Sports in Port Salerno and Treasure Coast Paddles both have rentals of kayaks and stand-up paddleboards. Then in St. Lucie County, one of the coolest places to rent a canoe is the Savannah's Recreation Area. It's just south of Fort Pierce. It's a freshwater area. You throw worms, you throw spinner baits, weedless crankbaits. That'll get you both bass and pickerel. Then you have the Indian River at Round Island Park with dedicated kayak launch site right next to the moorings flat, where you can target, redfish, trout, and snook on the flats, or you can go into the moorings channel and target tarpon. You can also launch from the beach and fish the bait schools, really in all 3 counties for the next 3 months, and have shots at tarpon, snook, and kingfish. And I just want to mention last weekend, COA Lures had their paddlers tournament. They had 138 kayaks and stand-up paddleboards, and a woman won the event. Iris Jean McElroy was the only person to catch a slam. She won it with a snook, trout, and redfish. And speaking redfish, last May, the redfish pushed in on the west bank dock line of the Indian River from Dead Man's Curve all the way to Savannah Road. And this year, it looks like there's more of the same. The fish are on the dock to work the entire length of the dock, particularly around the dilapidated docks, throw gold spoons or a saltwater assassin 4-inch shad in that good penny or copper juice color with a 1/4 ounce jig head. There's also been a good group of redfish on the North Ridge Flats and also on St. Lucie Village dock line and the west bank of the Indian River north of Harbor Branch. You can throw the same lures or free-line live shrimp or pilchards under the dock. Average redfish is going to be 4 to 8 pounds. I got a photo there. That's Jason Armand. He got that slot-sized redfish to eat a 4-inch shad and gold penny along the west bank dock line of the Indian River. So redfish are the fish to chase right now.
All right, let's go offshore, bub.
Well, the Palm Beach County kingfish bite's on. There's fish to 50 pounds being caught. Seems like 70 to 110 feet of water off the entire county. The greatest concentration of fish is between the Juneau Pier and the church steeple, but there's more big fish to the south off Lake Worth, and all the way from Lake Worth Pier all the way down to Boynton Beach. Live bait's the way to go. You can slow troll or drift, put out flat lines or kite baits, number 4 wire stinger rigs with like a number 2 or number 4 VMC 4X strong treble hooks on it. For bait, pilchards, mullet, blue runners, goggle eyes, and Spanish sardines are the top offerings, but don't be afraid to put out a small bluefish or a Spanish mackerel or even drift with a dead sardine. Average kingfish is going to be 12 to 20 pounds. The other deal, Palm Beach County really has the best blue water bite in the state going right now. There's just a crazy good sailfish bite off Palm Beach in the last week. The boats that are fishing live baits in 160 to 340 feet of water outside those kingfish schools are catching multiple sailfish every day. Some guys are getting 10 bites every day. A lot of the sails are those big, top-of-the-range summer sailfish that we see. So don't think your 20-pound spinning rods are going to do the trick. For bait, goggle-eyed, pilchards, Spanish sardines, that's the way to go. Put them out on 30-pound tackle, 50 to 60-pound fluorocarbon leader, and a 7.0 VMC circle hook. And live chum with small pilchards, if you can get them. Expect plenty of drive-bys from dolphin and blackfin tuna because they're out there as well. Average sailfish right now is about 40 pounds.
Mike, our weather has seemed to stable up. It's not cold in the mornings and whatnot, not really raining too much. How about the bass fishing? How's that been affected?
You know, that lack of rain is actually kind of helped things. You know, there's not really a lot of time left to fish the Everglades Canal at a holiday park in the Sawgrass Recreation Area before those summer rains kick in and really start to raise the water level and the fish move out of the canals and onto the flats. Right now, it's still like a 50 fish per person bite. Topwater plugs and weedless swimming baits and frogs, they're working early in the morning during that cool period, reel along the surface, and you're going to get those crushing bites on top. And then as it starts to warm up, switch to a June bug or watermelon red glitter colored fat job. Rig it Senko style. Work those open holes in the grass line. You can also throw a lipless crankbait or a weighted dye dapper just parallel to the grass. It's still getting pretty hot out there by about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So bring plenty of water, beat the thunderstorms, a lot of fish to about 6 pounds. I got a photo. Daniel Markowski sent that in. He caught that fish out of a backyard pond. So you don't really have to travel far to catch bass right now.
All right, great report from the Decks and Docks East region. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Inshore, snook, trout, redfish. On the west bank of the Indian River from Walton Road to Midway Road, saltwater 4-inch sea shads and drunk monkey, Houdini, or copper juice. And then offshore, dolphin, sailfish, blackfin tunas, and 200 to 400 feet of water off of Lake Worth Inlet. Live pilchards, goggle eyes, or Spanish sardines, Brie, is going to work for those. But you know what?
What?
They were only supposed to release for the CCA Star tournament. They were supposed to release 80 red-tagged redfish.
Yes.
Guess how many? They released 120.
What?
How about that? So now we have 120 chances. And remember that the first person to catch a tagged redfish that's registered is going to win a GMC truck from Conley GMC in Bradenton. How awesome is that?
That is awesome.
Yeah, man.
What's even more awesome is that coming up, we're seeing what the Costa Conservation Minute Tip is for the week, and then paddling over to our last region in the southeast, only on the Chevy
Florida
Insider
Fishing Report.
Yay!
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevrolet, find new roads. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. The IGFA, conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company. And there's no stopping Okuma.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Fish Stock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, and the Fish Stock 5K Fun Run. Put your skills to the test in the Redfish Trout Challenge. And new this year, Boston Whaler and Marine Max offer $2,500 cash for the largest fish caught each day in the Offshore Striker Tournament. Don't miss out on the fun. Visit fishstock.com to register.
Inside you, there's an outside you. A you that takes the road less traveled than the road less traveled. And finds the comforts of home extremely uncomfortable. This is for that you.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
When we created the Silverado Rally Edition, we figured, why stop there? These 4 new Silverado Special Editions are just the beginning. From this year's fastest-growing full-size truck brand, Chevy Silverado. Or during the Chevy Memorial Day sale, choose this Silverado All-Star with a total value of $8,500 when you finance through select lenders. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Being able to enjoy fishing and boating in Florida is a dream come true. There's not a better place to be. Here are a couple tips to make sure your time on the water is more enjoyable and safer. Pay attention while operating your boat. A distracted boater is the single greatest cause of boating accidents. Make sure you maintain 360-degree awareness, scan constantly to make sure you avoid running into boats, docks, or any other objects. Another way to make sure your time on the water is safer is by developing a life jacket habit. The newer inflatable life jackets are so comfortable you won't feel like you're wearing one. Most importantly, you want to make sure you return home safely to your friends and family. Don't take a chance. Wear a life jacket all the time while boating. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. For more information, log on to myfwc.com. You know, Brie, I am so glad to see that you're wearing your life jacket.
Always.
Because obviously when you're in here next to me, your life is in your own hands.
It is. Okay, Captain Jimbo Thomas is here from the Southeast region with plenty of info for the paddle sporting people out there. I just have one question, Jimbo.
Okay, shoot.
I can paddle a boat, canoe.
Not mine.
Come on, it was a canoe joke.
No, but you know, I've never been on a kayak, but I've seen quite a few of them, and some of these new kayaks are pretty tricked out. You know, they've got rod holders, bait wells, GPS, depth machines. They got a lot more stuff than I have on my big boat, some of these things that I've seen. But it makes them suitable for just about any kind of fishing. When the weather's right, it's only a 2-mile trek to get out to the deep water, which I am told takes only about 30 minutes. And then Dania Beach is a very popular starting point to head offshore because the deep water is so close to the beach there. And that's what's nice about fishing out here in the southeast region. On the days when the weather isn't right for offshore kayaking, those things are great for fishing along the shorelines of the bays, creeks, and flats, where their stealthy approach is not as likely to spook any shallow water fish. So snook and tarpon, bonefish, you can sneak right up on them. Most of the county and state parks, they're kayak friendly from what I'm told. And then there's a new kayak ramp at Chapman Field and also at Snowden's Dam, which are both in South Dade. And those are both great places to explore the western shore of Biscayne Bay. And then when the wind is too much for the bay, kayaks are also great for exploring the Everglades or fishing the local lakes and canals for largemouth and peacock bass.
Nice.
Staying inshore, though, we've got sea trout. They're still being caught in decent numbers on and around the grass flats from Rickenbacker Causeway north to Holliver Inlet. There have been a lot of small sea trout out there, but there's also been fish close to 5 pounds mixed in. The bulk of them are being found on the flats that are holding schools of small pilchards in 4 to 8 feet of water, and they are being caught on small live pilchards, herring, and pinfish, fished under a Cajun Thunder or a hookup and bass assassin jigs with 3 to 4 inch Gulf shrimp. Now the color of these Gulf shrimp hasn't seemed to matter from what I'm told. And then on the high tide, the fish have been on top of the grass flats, and then as the tide falls, the potholes and edges of the flats have been productive. And now these North Biscayne Bay sea trout, those are ideal target species for anybody going out there on a kayak. Now moving offshore, in the past week, the Gulf Stream's been really close to shore, and it's been bringing in blue water, lots of north current right up to the reef. And when we get these conditions this time of the year, the sailfish bite turns on. And whether it's this time of the year or any time of the year, as long as we got those conditions, it's good. Now, most of these sails are being caught on live herring, pilchards, and goggle eyes fished under the kite in 90 to 200 feet of water. But they're forecasting light winds the next couple of days, so flying the kite might be a problem. So drifting or slow trolling those baits might be the only other option. Now, the sails, along with pretty much everything else, they generally bite better when we have a little wind and some chop. So on these calm days, there's usually an afternoon sea breeze that starts up. So these afternoons are probably going to be where we're going to see the best bite the next couple of days. There's been a lot of multiple hookups, so when you do get a bite, try to leave out the rest of the spread to try and double or triple up. And on the average, we're getting anywhere from 3 to 13 or 12 to 13 sailfish bites per day. Now, I got a photo here, and this is one of the many sails, and we've caught quite a few this week, that we're able to tag and release. Now, the other best bet offshore is kingfish, which have been taking up the slack in between those sailfish bites. Most of the kings have been in the 15-pound range, but much larger ones, closer to 50 pounds, have been caught this week. And our biggest this week was 37 pounds, so we've caught some nice ones. Most of the bites are coming off drifted or slow-trolled live baits versus the kite baits. And one of my favorite king baits is a double-hooked live Speedo, and you free-line that Speedo back a good ways behind the boat, and if there's a big king in the area, he will definitely find and eat that Speedo. Now, the bites have been from anywhere from 80 to 150 feet of water, and the kings don't care if the water is green or blue, whereas in the sails, we like to fish in that blue water. For the kings, doesn't really seem to matter. Now, they're biting throughout the region, but the hottest area for these kings has been in the Hillsborough and the Boynton Inlet areas.
All right, great report, Jimbo. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the First National Bank of South Florida's hotspots. Inshore, fish the North Biscayne Bay grass flats with small live pilchards for sea trout and mangrove snappers. And then offshore, fish live herring and pilchards late in the afternoon in 90 to 180 feet of water for sailfish, kingfish, and blackfin tunas.
That's what this is for, is to bump you with it.
Really?
Okay, everyone, we've covered oh my gosh, we've covered the entire state in just a quick hour and a half. But stick around, because next week we are doing something very, very special that you won't want to miss. We'll be right back in a jiffy.
This is amazing.
I love this car.
Real people are discovering surprising things at Chevy.
This is a road trip car.
We're sold.
It's so pretty.
They're good-looking cars. It feels great.
Perfect. This is not what I would expect from a Chevy at all.
Get more than you expect for less than you imagined at the Chevy Memorial Day sale going on now. Get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select 2015 models in stock the longest. That's over $3,100 on this Chevy Cruze. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline four-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Forage fish are small fish that hold marine food webs together. Put simply, forage fish like pilchards turn sunshine into snook. The IGFA and other conservation organizations are working with the FWC to improve forage fish management in Florida. Ensuring that there's enough food in the water for our game fish will maintain Florida's legacy as the fishing capital of the world. Visit floridaforagefish.org to learn more and to sign the Forage Fish Pledge.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And make sure to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we are celebrating our 300th
300
episode.
Did you ever think, Dave?
And it's all about kingfish,
That's
you
a
two.
lot.
Be sure to tune in to SunSports every Thursday. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for times.
300.
300
old.
episodes. But you know what?
That's a lot.
More importantly, we have Memorial Day weekend coming up.
Yes.
And
Woo!
guys, listen, we want everybody to come back and watch the 300th episode next week. Make sure that you pay attention. If you're drinking, just find
Don't
a
be driving.
designated driver. If you're out on the water, you can get a DUI if you consume too much stuff.
And it'll cost
And
you.
the guys are going to be out there. I got a direct line to the FWC, and I can tell you they increase the presence while they're out there. Thank you, Dave, for helping me on that. But please make sure that you pay attention to what you're consuming.
They will get you.
Because it's hot, and it doesn't seem like you're drinking very much, but anyway.
You're going to jail.
And
That's
then
right.
you can kayak and yak. Hey, Dave, I was here. You were stealing some money tonight.
Well, you know, I'm good at it.
Yeah, you did.
You didn't have to do
You
anything.
didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. He just showed up.
Get out of here.
He didn't even
Get
have
out.
the, Ashley had his back. Mike had his back.
I'm not going to apologize.
I know you guys have
Crazy
our back.
boys.
Thank you so much
All right,
for watching.
come back and see us for our 300th episode next